Hello students, myself Monotosh Dey, your English helpline on the go. Today I shall discuss a poem from Beehive which is taught in CBSE curriculum of Standard 9th. The poem under discussion today is Wind by Subramania Bharati. Dear students, if you are watching my channel for the first time or if you haven't subscribed to my channel so far, please do subscribe to it. Your support will go a long way in helping me to upload my video on a regular basis. Thank you. Before we begin, let me give you a short introduction of the writer, which will be followed by the discussion of theme, stanza-wise explanation and recapitulation towards the end. So, dear students, let us begin. Subramania Bharati, December 11, 1882 to September 11, 1921 was a Tamil poet from Tamil Nadu, an independence fighter and iconistic reformer. Known as Mahakavi Bharati, he is celebrated as one of India's greatest poets. His compositions helped rally the masses to support the Indian independence movement in South India. Bharati was a pioneer in introducing a new style of Tamil poetry and created a prose poetic style known as Puthu Kavitai, that is modern poems. Now let's move on. This poem describes the destructive power of the wind. The wind is the symbol of difficulties or obstacles that humans have to face for their survival. The weak people give up, but stronger people come out of bad phase of life with the help of their motivation and commitment. The poem highlights the fact that we should be physically strong as well as mentally tough to survive the hardships of life. We must make friendship with the destructive forces of the wind with our strength and determination. Now let's move on to the stanza-wise explanation of the poem. First, lines 1 to 4. Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. Now let me explain you the meaning of these lines. In these lines, the poet directly talks to the wind. In fact, he makes an appeal to the wind. He asks the wind not to break down the shutters of the windows. The poet is asking the wind for protection. He also asks the wind not to scatter the papers in his room or to throw down the books from his bookshelves. Now let's move on to next lines 5 to 7. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought the rain again. So dear students, let us understand the meaning of these lines. In these lines, the poet continues speaking to the wind. However, the tone he now uses to address the wind has changed from the tone he had been using in the first 4 lines of the poem. Here, the poet speaks to the wind on an allegation tone. Allegation means accusing somebody of doing something wrong. He hints at the mess in his room and tells the wind that it is he who is responsible for it. He shows the wind how he has thrown all the books from the bookshelves with his own force and torn pages out of those books as well. However, the poet does not restrict his vision only to the inside of his house. Looking outside, he also accuses the wind of having brought rainfall with himself while approaching the poet's house. Now let's move on to lines 8 to 12. You are very clever at poking fun at weaklings, frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts, the wind god winnows and crushes them all. So let's understand the meaning of these lines. In these lines, the tone of the poet has once again undergone a tremendous change. While it is still accusatory, it has also become gentle to some extent. The poet tells the wind that he makes mischief whenever he comes face to face with anyone who is too meek and mild to protest against his actions. The wind can tear down the doors, the rafters, or entire wooden house altogether. The poet is talking about the wind blowing over someone's life and leaving a trail of disasters behind. The troubles we face in life come as suddenly as the wind and also leave suddenly. The poet says that the wind can tear down weak bodies and fragile hearts. That is, difficulties in life can lead to a loss of hope as well as a loss of life. So, dear students, the poet suggests us to be physically strong and mentally tough. If we are mentally tough, we can overcome all the obstacles that tend to sometimes disturb our life. Therefore, we should develop strong willpower so that we can overcome any trouble or any kind of hardship that comes on our way to disturb us in the journey of our life. Now let's move on to the next few lines, that is lines 13 to 15. He won't do what you tell him, so come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Dear students, in these lines, the poet stops speaking to the wind and starts speaking to the readers. He tells his readers that the wind does not listen to anybody and that his actions are governed by him alone. Therefore, we cannot escape ill effects of the wind by appealing to the wind like he has been doing. Instead, what we should do? We should build our homes on a strong foundation and ensure that our doors should not be weak or vulnerable to the wind. Metaphorically speaking, dear students, in order to protect us from the hardships of our lives, we should be physically strong and mentally very, very tough. Now, let's move on to next few lines, that is lines 16 to 18. Practice to firm the body, make the heart steadfast. Do this and the wind will be friends with us. Let's understand. In these lines, the poet says that we must make ourselves strong both physically and mentally. We must train our bodies and our hearts to fight against and resist the ill effects of the wind. If we are able to do this, then the poet thinks that we will no longer consider the wind our enemy. Instead, the wind will invite us to become his friend, and we will be able to fearlessly accept his invitation to become his friend. Therefore, the poet suggests us not to give up in the bad phase of our life. Rather, we should develop a strong willpower to fight any disaster that comes on our way in the journey of our life. Now let's do lines 19 to 20. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. So in these lines, the poet describes how the wind has both bad effects and good effects. In order to elucidate on bad effects of the wind, he shows how the wind can blow out a fire if it is glowing with a weak force. If the fire is weak, the wind can easily blow out a fire. But if the fire is strong enough, then the wind can never blow it out. The wind can help it to burn more intensely. However, if the fire is burning strongly, the wind will not blow out but makes it more fierce. Thus, the wind can nurture something which is already strong. So, if we are physically as well as mentally very strong, then whatever comes in our way, whatever hardship, whatever bad patch comes on our way, we shall be in a position to overcome them. That is why wind is a metaphor in this poem for the hardships, struggle, for the bad patch that tends to sometimes upset our life. Okay, so the poet suggests us to be physically strong and mentally tough to fight all the wars that come on the way to our journey in life. Now lines 21 to 23. His friendship is good, we praise him every day, wind comes softly. Now let's understand the meanings of these lines. In these lines, the poet comes to a conclusion after counting both the bad effects as well as the good effects of the wind. He says that if we are strong, then the wind is a good friend for us to have, as he will increase our strength. He also says that we should sing our devotion to the wind god. Here, the wind has been personified as God in this poem. Okay. Finally, he asks for the wind to come to him softly. He knows how the wind, that is adversity or bad phase of our life, can strengthen him. But as a precaution, so that the wind does not cause any damage to him, he asks the wind to come to him in a very gentle manner. Okay, dear students, now let's recapitulate what we have learned so far. The wind blows violently and causes destruction everywhere. The wind breaks the shutters of weak windows, it scatters the papers and throws down books on the shelves. The poet has regarded wind as God. He says that he makes fun of the weak people and weak things. The fast blowing wind destructs weak houses, weak doors, and weak bodies. The poet suggests us to build strong homes and strong doors. We must be healthy physically and mentally. It will help the wind to be friend with us. To sum up the poem, people with strong physique and tough mind are able to stand and face the odds or obstacles of life. Let me conclude the discussion on this poem with a very motivating thought, which is tough times don't last, but tough people do. I repeat the thought for you. Tough times don't last, but the tough people do. Thank you. Take care. Until I come with a new video, have a nice time. Thank you.